Welcome back, everybody, to Dr. Winks Gaming. Today we are moving on to, I believe it is week 4 or 5. I said week 4 last week, but I wasn't sure. It looks like week 4 this week, and we are playing at the Jets. Before we jump into this, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Leave me some comments to see if there's anything else in this game that I should play, and any other games that you'd like to play as well. Check out our kids' gaming channel as well, Gaming Thrashers. And let's get this started. Here we go. We're going to play this moment playing at the famous Eastern Rutherford, New Jersey, New York Jets. So they play there with the New York Giants. And the Jets are not that good again this year, but the Giants are kind of a surprise at 3-1. And they have some of the games they lost were actually pretty decent games. The only game that they lost was to the Cowboys last Sunday night, and that was actually a really good game. It was a good defensive battle all the way through until about the halfway through the third, and then both teams started coming alive with what they were doing. And it was just it was a lot of fun to watch. It's good to see Saquon Barkley back from all his injuries and Daniel Jones playing at a pretty high level with the new coach that they have. I'm trying to think of his name, but they're doing a pretty good job so far. I don't see them really competing too well with the Philadelphia Eagles, just because they've come out of the woodwork, and it was nice to see the Eagles yesterday do what they did to the Jaguars after being down 14-0 and winning 29-21. It sucked for my Broncos living here in Vegas. They played the Raiders here in town, and it was a good game. It was a really good game. I give all the credit to the Raiders. They outplayed them, and they outscored them. And the Broncos defense, they're losing a lot of players on defense. It's kind of ugly. With Gregory going down, and I believe another guy going down, and they're trying the best that they can. I believe it was the running back actually went down, and that just sucks across the board, because he seems like he is Javonte Williams seems like a really good player. So now Melvin Gordon and I believe Boone, their third string running back, got hurt last night at the same time. And, they did pretty well, and Russell's finally coming out. As I said in the last video, he's starting to realize that he's coming out doing his thing, and Nathaniel Hackett, I think, is realizing, too, that he's got a guy who can throw the ball, is a good scrambler, and just does a good job with getting out there and getting stuff done. He is a very good quarterback, should have 2 Super Bowl wins, but has one on one of the weirdest play calls that you would see when they played the Patriots when he was with Seattle in the Super Bowl that year. Marshawn Lynch almost scored, and the next play they run a kind of a weird slant pattern that went across, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was Butler, the cornerback for the Patriots, stepped right in front of the receiver, as most of you probably know if you watch Super Bowls. It was probably a lot of people consider the worst play call in the history of the Super Bowl, maybe the sport, to win a championship. And Pete Carroll never lived that down, even though he does have a Super Bowl title now with Russell Wilson being his quarterback. And I believe that they had Matt Castle on that team. No, it was the backup that played for Aaron Rodgers for a little while on that team before they figured Russell Wilson is actually the guy that they should be doing everything through, and he played pretty well. And looking at Russell Wilson's background, playing at NC State and playing at Wisconsin, was very, very interesting. He's seems like a very good gentleman, very nice. I believe he is very religious, which is great at the same time. And he's just good. Seems like a good guy all the way around. Made a big impact in Denver so far, like he did in Seattle, and people just seem to have that respect for him. And it was nice to see the Broncos sign him to that long-term deal, so they don't have to worry about their quarterback for a couple of years, even though they probably need to draft one relatively soon, because for 6 seasons after they won the Super Bowl over the Panthers, they just have not looked right. They haven't looked good. I think they're on their 3rd coach in the last few years. And they're one of those organizations in the NFL that has a good history to it. I mean, they're right there with the Packers and the Steelers and the Patriots now over the last 20 years. Patriots really didn't have a good dynasty until Drew Bledsoe got hurt, and Tom Brady came in and became the GOAT. Even though Drew Bledsoe was a good quarterback, he just couldn't get a starting job back when you have a guy like that come in and just do the best they can. And I believe they won the Super Bowl in his first year after Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Anyway, let's see. There are a couple of teams this year that are going to be really surprising, and I'm hoping that the Chargers, I told my wife, who's a Chargers fan, that I still believe, even after all the injuries, that they are going to be the one that's going to represent the Super Bowl, because get these injuries out of the way early. They are, I believe, 2-2 now, and they're right where they need to be. They've played some tough games. I'm not saying that they should have won the Kansas City game. They should be 3-1. Kansas should be 2-2. But when you saw Justin Herbert take that injury with the fractured rib cartilage, which I had never heard of before, it would be. I would never want to have an injury like that. But knowing that he is as tough as he is and got it back and came out and did the best that he could in that game, and had a good game yesterday against the Texans. I keep wondering if they shoot him up with lidocaine and marcaine in that area, which is a numbing medicine that allows you to be able to actually play the game when you're out there. I don't even know what it's like to have something like that, what your breathing would be like, what just movement in general, or even trying to sleep at night. I don't know if you'd have to take some kind of pain medication, ibuprofen, Tylenol, Vicodin. I mean, any of that stuff would just be very, very hard to deal with constantly. When you think about all the players that have admitted to doing that stuff, I think it was the 2008 or 9 NFC Championship game. Brett Favre came off on the field, almost had a broken ankle, took a Vicodin, and went back into the game. And they should have won the game against the Saints, but the Saints ended up winning in overtime and went on to beat the Colts in the Super Bowl. And I'm going to score a touchdown, I'll take it. Man, if I couldn't beat the Jets in this game, I would not even make another video for all of you. If you do get a chance, hit that like, subscribe, notification button on the bottom. Leave me a comment on anything that you like about this game, any other games you'd like me to play, and let's jump back into it. This is pretty interesting, and it's been good to see the Broncos over the past 2 years get some good running backs, make a nice trade this last season to get Russell Wilson. He might not be as sharp as he used to, but because he's not in his prime. He's 32 years old, I do believe. And he's as tough as you're going to find. He got a good arm. Being a shorter quarterback, he does the best that he possibly can with what is given to him. Yes, I'm gonna punt. Why would I go for it at the 40 and give the Jets a chance to have a chance in this game? I'm not gonna do that. It's nice to see the Jets. They got Zach Wilson. They got a new head coach as well. They're playing tough. That win they had against the Browns, I think they were down by 13 with under 2 minutes to play earlier this season, and they pulled it out. And knowing that if you lose to the Jets, you're probably going to be the laughing stock of that particular week, only because they've been so bad for so long. And I'm not knocking any of the players on the Jets at all. I'm just saying the way they've run the organization has not been the best constantly. Since Joe Cool was there, they really haven't done a lot. I think the one season that I can remember that they had a good one, they ended up playing the Broncos in the 2000 AFC Championship game, had them down 10-0 at halftime, and then the Broncos just came out and realized that they kicked some butt. They kicked their butt in that second half. I think they scored 23 unanswered points. Just stay on the ground there. Stay on the ground. And they went on to win the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons, and the NFC title game that year was interesting because I believe it was Morton Anderson, who had not missed a field goal all year, missed a field goal with like 2 or 3 minutes left in the NFC title game to keep it at 7 points, and Atlanta went down to score, and then they actually I think he was the kicker for Atlanta, and then the Vikings kicker had not missed one all year, and he missed it, and then the Atlanta went on to win the NFC title and played the Broncos and just got hammered in the Super Bowl. I think the Vikings would have been a better Super Bowl, and that year would have been two teams that had both lost 4 Super Bowls and would have been the first time that one team had lost 5 Super Bowls, and I think the Broncos hold that title now for the most losses in Super Bowl history. I think they're 3-5 now because they played 8 Super Bowls, and they've won 3. They were 0-4, and then they finally won the one in '98, won the one in '99. Lost the Super Bowl to Seattle, and then won the Super Bowl against Carolina. So I believe that, yes, they are 3-5 from that standpoint. If I am wrong, somebody put some comments in there and let me know if I'm actually wrong about that. I am not the ultimate Super Bowl historian by any means, but I love studying the history and records and different stats of the Super Bowl. So every now and then I get a call from a friend asking, even if it's not Super Bowl season, hey, what happened? And what happened this time? I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I will say I just don't know because there's too many stats, there's too many records to remember, there's too many things going on, and why that sticks in my head. Even my mom asked me like, how why do you know that? I don't know. It's just one of those things I remember. I can't tell you why. I can't speak English very well, but I can remember stats for things that don't matter to me, at least. Knowing those stats are really important, and records are really important, but they're not when it comes down to life and your family and everything else. Nah, it's not that important. Everybody, thank you for watching this video. That was a great, fast game against the Jets. I wish you all a great day. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification button. Hit all three of them. And again, check out our Cade's Gaming channel, Gaming Thrashers, and we will see you in Week 5.